Unfortunately, these days, there are far too many people out there that possess many negative personality traits, including, arrogance, self-righteousness, disrespect, narcissism, you name it. And it's come to a point now where people go so far as to think that they're heroes just for coming up with an original hashtag on social media, or for harshly criticizing somebody they've never met before instead of looking inwards first and admitting that they themselves are imperfect. And I think a large part of the reason why this is the case is because those people have never had to experience anything difficult in their lives. They've kind of just had everything handed to them, and so they develop those negative personality traits. But I myself, having served what little time I did in the military, can attest to the fact that military service, of course, depending on where you are and what you do, at least has a high propensity to transform you dramatically as a person for the better. And so one of my more polarizing opinions is that everyone should serve in the military. And so in this video, I'm going to go through just a few of the many ways that experience transforms you to justify that argument. So one of the core tenets of military training is the reduction of the self. This concept that you as an individual matter more than your fellow Marines or soldiers, or even your mission that you're trying to accomplish, your country that you're serving, your equipment, and all those things. In Marine Corps boot camp, you're literally forbidden from using self-referring pronouns like I or me or even you, and instead you have to say this recruit or that recruit. I remember when I was in the Army, we did everything in formation. We took accountability in formation, we did PT in formation, we marched places in formation, because they're teaching us to make more effective use of our power in numbers. Teams win wars, not individuals. But the reason why this matters outside of the military is because it helps you go from a selfish person into a selfless person. And I talked about the value of selflessness in my video entitled Just That recently, where I talk about the science behind why that's a better alternative. Because when you're selfless, you have a value proposition, you have something to offer others rather than just caring about yourself all the time. You are much more valuable because selflessness is so rare, and selflessness prompts more of its kind, where you inspire people to do the same thing, but more importantly, it's quite simply the right thing to do. Now, in addition, and kind of in conjunction with that, the military teaches you to sacrifice, because you've already signed up to make the ultimate sacrifice, which is giving your life for your country. You're also learning to sacrifice your own needs for the collective, which we just talked about, but also you learn to sacrifice short-term gain for long-term gain. Because you're going to have no choice but to rough it in the field for weeks, if not months, and you have to sacrifice all the creature comforts like warm showers and your favorite foods and a long, good night's worth of sleep so that you can make it through to the end of the field exercise, and you're going to be miserable the entire time. And even on those occasions where you do have a choice, it's going to be so ingrained in you that you're not going to want to quit. So a simpler example would be a PT test. So you have the option to run as slow as you want on the 2-mile run portion of the APFT, and make it as easy for yourself as you possibly can, but you're going to want to push yourself and run as fast as you can and as hard as you can so you can get a higher score and get all the accolades that come with that. Now, sacrifice is obviously very important outside of the military as well, because you have to be able to set your needs aside for other people at least once in a while if you want any of your relationships to succeed. But also, you have to be able to sacrifice comfort in the present if you want to achieve something that takes time and effort to achieve. You have to struggle through college instead of just dropping out if you want a degree at the end of it. You have to go to work every day and work hard instead of quitting if you want an income and the prospect of a comfortable retirement. You have to go to the gym every day and kind of beat yourself up if you want to look good and be in shape. Now, there are a few places that are going to offer you the same exposure to hardship that the military does, because you're going to be any combination of cold, wet, hungry, tired, and miserable time and again in the military, and you still have to lead soldiers. You still have work to do. You still have to accomplish your mission. And so what does that do for you? For one, it makes you more respectful because now you know what true pain and suffering really is like. So when you come across somebody that's experienced that, you are going to respect them more rather than just kind of dismissing them as you probably would have before that. It also makes you more appreciative of all those little things that you formerly took for granted in life. Just things like the simple knowledge that you get to sleep indoors instead of outdoors when it's freezing cold outside. Or the fact that your life isn't being constantly dictated to you like it is in the military. And it makes you much more tolerant because your standards for what you consider to be difficult and intolerable have been significantly raised. Because now you compare everything to the fact that life could be so much worse like it was in the military. So all those other things that other people are complaining about just don't quite stack up. And it in turn humbles you because hardship makes you aware of your limitations. Because whereas most people are arrogant enough to claim that they have all these redeeming personality traits like ambition, selflessness, or that they're hard workers or resilient and all those things, they may very well have not had anything come along that's had to prove them right or wrong. Whereas when you're exposed to hardship, you have to prove that you have those traits in order to overcome that hardship. And so now you realize that you're not nearly anywhere as great of a person as you thought you were. And that might sound kind of dismal, but you're no worse off than anybody else. Like I said, you're just more humble now that you know what it takes and you know what you have to do to improve those shortcomings of yours. Now, I fully acknowledge on a final note that there are exceptions to every rule. Because like I've said before, two people can experience the same thing and turn out differently. And it depends on a large variety of factors, including whether you're active duty or not, what your branch of service is, what your job is, and all those things. But I just think that at least for those grown men and women out there that act like spoiled children, some military service is better than no military service at all. But like I said, as polarizing as that may sound, it's just my humble opinion. And I'm always happy to have a discussion with somebody who disagrees with me. So let me know what you think. Hope this helps. I hope this was insightful for you, and I'll see you next time.